Okay, so I need everybody to hang on. When I say launch Capture One, if you're on the studio computers, there's two versions of Capture One. If you go to the application folder, you will see that there's just a listing for Capture One, and then there is a Capture One 12. That Capture One 12 is really old. That's not the one you want to launch. You want to launch the one that's just straight Capture One. And tell me if you're having problems and it's not working. Okay, so everybody got Capture One open? Just say no if you don't have it open yet, because I don't want to keep going if you don't have it open. Are we good? Okay, so with this thing open, the first thing that we actually need to do, and this will just be the kind of the beginning intro part of Capture One. I'm not going to go through this too much in depth because we do actually spend weeks going through this much more in depth. But if you look at the very top of Capture One, there's a series of icons that run across the very top. These are called tool tabs. If you click on the library one, you will see that underneath the library one are all sorts of things that would be library related. This is actually my export one, so let me get back to my library one. So this will show you where certain things are. This allows you to navigate to places on your computer. If you come down here to the bottom, this is where you can also do sorting, rating, keyword tagging, all that kind of stuff. So that's basically what's going on here in the library part. And the next part over is the tether part. This is what most of you guys are familiar with and where we work. So this would be, again, where you do things like, if you open this up, if your camera's connected, it'll show you this stuff. If you're working with certain phase cameras, you can actually focus your camera using controls in Capture One. These are next settings, naming settings, location settings, all of that kind of stuff. The next one over is shape. This is all about perspective and distortion and cropping and keystoning and that kind of stuff. The next one over is style. In styles, you can do a lot of custom styles. So you can think of styles as like Instagram filters and that kind of thing, but it goes much, much, much deeper than that. You can build your own, so for instance, you can do your own color grading styles. You can do your own LUTs in here, that kind of stuff. If you come and if you have big screen real estate, you will not run out of space. You'll actually have more of these things that you can see. If you don't, you'll have this little double-headed arrow thing. If you click on that, these are the ones that are missing. Not missing, it's just they're hidden. So you can also grab your entire column and make it larger, and you'll see those things that are missing. I'm going to keep mine smaller right now, though. So in this flyout menu part right here, you'll have adjustments, refining, metadata, and exporting. We will get to exporting in a little bit later. So the first thing that we're really going to do is we want to import a file. We need to create, now pretty much like we created the DNG in Camera Raw, to then use in the software program that we wanted to use. We're going to do the same thing here. We've got to create a very specific version of a TIFF file to then use that in that software. And so this is how you do it. Let me get to, I have a cheat sheet on this. Let me show you my cheat sheet, and you've got it here. It's just a file that you can download, PDF that you can download. If you go into our Canvas site for week number 5. This is where we are right here. Right down here, color checker software, ICC workflow color. If you open this up, this is going to walk you through the steps of how you create this very specific file inside of Capture One. So I'm not going to wait. Oh, Yep, there, we're almost there. So this will walk you through it all. It's actually sitting right here. You can download and keep it. It's not that complicated, but I'm going to get to my version of it so that I can read this out loud to you and make sure that I'm doing all of the steps correctly. Alrighty. So the first thing to do is inside of Capture One, we need to bring a copy of that CR2 file into it. So I'm going to go back to my Capture One. To do that, up at the very top, you should have an import button up at the very top left-hand side. Click on the import button. Actually, I'm going to hang on one second. I want to go back to my library. Make sure you have your library actually selected, and then also make sure, oh, we need to create a session in here. Let's start with first things first. So to start with, you want to create a brand new session to do this in. You don't want to work in somebody else's session. I would do this if you had done a shooting. I would do this actually inside whatever session that I had done that shooting in, so that this was all still connected to everything was still in the shooting that I actually had named. So that's how I would do it. So to do a new session, there are two options that you have in Capture One. If you come up to this very top in the file menu, up at the very top, you can see you can create a new catalog or a new session. Catalogs are very much like Lightroom. What they're designed to do is they are designed to hold every image that you take for the rest of your life. They have very robust search controls inside of them, very robust database controls inside of them, so they allow you to search years and years and years worth of images. However, in the professional world like I work in, nobody uses catalogs. Everybody uses sessions because sessions are discrete. So for me, I go in to do a shooting, and if it's a 1 week shooting, I will still use a single session for the whole week. But if I am shooting for Saks on Monday and I'm shooting for Neiman Marcus on Tuesday, I don't use one giant catalog to do that. I use separate sessions for both of them. Now, a lot of people will actually combine the two. What most people I know who do that do is they shoot every single thing to a session, and then they import all of the captures in their sessions also into a catalog so that they can search the catalog and know what session to go to find something. So you can double this up. But again, 99% of the time that you are working in a professional studio, you will be working in a session. So you can either click on File and do New Session, or you can click on this plus button right here, and the flyout menu will give you New Session or Catalog. But I want you to go ahead and click New Session. And when this dialog window opens up, I again strongly suggest you use my naming convention or something close to it. So my naming convention would be, please type this with me, 20260227. That is today's date, starting with year, then month, then day. Throw in an underscore. Then we're going to do, again, I put a 3-digit client code. If it's yourself that you're doing this for, put in your initials. If I'm going to do this for Columbia, so I'm going to put in COL, underscore again. Then we need to put in a keyword. What the heck is it we're doing? Well, this is going to be an ICC profile, so I'm going to put in ICC, and then I've already done one of these, so I don't want to overwrite my session, so I'm just going to do PROFIL or something like that. So anyway, you guys can do the full word, PROFIL without an E. Yeah, I'm going to do it that way so I know which one it is. In terms of where you put this, the default should be your pictures folder. I think we've had this conversation before. The last place in the world you want to put this is on an external hard drive. The reason you don't want to do that is that it forces you, every image that you take, to actually travel down that USB cable to your hard drive. And for people who shoot fast, you will start to lag behind, and you can start to really lag behind. And so the pictures that an art director ends up looking at are the ones that you shot 3 minutes ago, and they will be livid. Never, ever, ever put it out to a hard drive. Other people will actually put this to their desktop. The desktop is the next worst place that you can put this, because on your desktop is a database. Every time anything on your desktop changes, the entirety of your desktop has to recatalog. So every single thing that is on your desktop, and all of us have too much shit on our desktops, you guys more than me. Anyway, that also is a real slow drag. Other people will shoot to servers. That is not only slow, but that is dangerous, because you have no way of knowing that it actually landed at the server uncorrupted. So again, pictures is your best place to put this. That's just what it's made for. That's where you should put it. You never want to click on open new window. The reason you don't is that it will cover this window exactly. You won't know that you have two windows open, but your camera can only connect to one of those two windows. So if you have a camera connected right now to this previous session that I've got open, and you do this open new, it will cover this original session. They will both be open, they will both be active, but your camera will not be able to connect to the one that you just made because the session that was already open owns the camera. So again, don't ever do this part. It is playing with fire. You will just tear your hair out that you cannot get your stuff to work. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and say okay for this. And now I'm actually going to import that file. So to get to that file, up at the very top left-hand corner, there is an import button. If you click on that, it'll open up a screen and say, where do you want to import this thing? And I'm going to click on, or what do you want to import? So I'm going to click on choose. It'll open up a dialog box, and then you need to navigate and find that CR2 file. So wherever you put your folder that has, wherever you put, mine's in week 5, yours will be in the assistant folder, you know, again, it's renamed Spring 26. So you need to find that. It's inside the DNG custom profile example files. There is a CR2 file in there. You're not opening the DNG. I don't even think you, well, you might be able to if it's sitting there, but you want to open the CR2 file. So click on review for import. It'll open it up. In terms of where you want to import this to, you want to make sure that it is the Capture One folder. So this should be on by default. If it's not, somebody tell me. Okay, because you can import, you can designate where you want to import it, but this is where you want it, and it should be on by default. Then to actually do the import, you need to click on this this little box on the lower right-hand corner. You need to click on that, and when you do that, you will get the ability to then import one image. And I want to say, okay, I'm going to click on that to do this. And then everyone should have the thumbnail in here, and if you click on the thumbnail, it's the same image we've been working on. Did this work for everyone? If you don't see this thumbnail, you need to click on the capture folder itself in order to actually see the thumbnails. If you don't have anything selected, you won't see, unless you physically got this selected, you will not see any of the thumbnails, much less be able to open it. Are we all good? Yep. Yes. But there's no other way to get around doing this, so I'm just going to show it to you. We're going to go into the tethered capture tool tab right now. And in the tethered capture tool tab right now, if you take a look down where it says next capture adjustments, open that up. If you need to be on your phone, go somewhere else and be on your phone. Otherwise, open up the next capture adjustment, and you will see that underneath this it says ICC profile default. What that's going to mean is that it knows the camera that you're shooting, and so it's going to tag every raw file that you have with the profile for your camera. You can change those things if you want, but we do not want to do that. The issue with this, though, is that this only applies to the next capture. This does not apply to the file that we are looking at right now. In order to change or to adjust the profile of the file that we're looking at right now, you use a completely different tool. So collapse this. You're not going to use it. Now I hover down here in the lower part of my image. Now Capture One keeps changing where you actually do this part, but if you come down into the lower part, hopefully this is going to work. If you're on Windows, you do a right click. If you're on a Macintosh, you do a control click, And when you do that, you'll get a little flyout menu that says Add Tool, and you want to add Base Characteristics. And when you do that, this will pop open, and this is actually showing us what is the profile for that's embedded in this, that would be used for this image. It's not embedded in it, but this is how it will actually be processed. And you can see it's gone in, it's looked at the metadata of this file. These are Capture One profiles now that you can actually use for this. However, we need to change all of this to build the correct image that we use to actually do our profile. Yes? Yes, I'm going to get rid of mine first, and then I'll do it again. All right, I'm just hovering over the bottom of this. If you don't have space, you can really do this anywhere, and it'll just drop it anywhere. But for me, I like to keep some sort of order. So again, you need to do a control click. So hold down the control key and click. You should get a flyout menu at your cursor, and it should say Add Tool. And then Base Characteristics is what you want to add. And then inside it, you will see this. So right now, it's designed to be this Canon EOS 5D Mark II Pro Standard. This is a custom profile that is built by Capture One for the camera that shot this picture. Okay, so these are the things that we need to change to actually start on this. So hang on one second. Alrighty, so the things that we need to change in the base characteristics. You need to click on the ICC profile drop-down, and in this drop-down, if you scroll down, you'll have all of these other options. These are all profiles that are created for Capture One. So you want to come down to Effects, and then over to No Color Correction. So again, come up to, we're in the ICC profile drop-down menu, come all the way down to Effects and pick No Color Correction, and you'll see your image gets kind of washed out. That's what we're looking for. Did you get Effects at the bottom? You need to scroll down. Keep scrolling down, and your regular effects, and then over to No Color Correction. Good. Did everybody else get this? Good, because nothing works, you guys, if we don't get this stuff set up right. Nothing that you do will actually work. All right, then we need to change the curve in here. So the curve in the drop-down menu, you're going to change this from auto down to linear response. So again, we're using the no effects color correction, no color correction profile for this, and a linear response for this. And then we need to save this as a very specific file. So to do that, you need to get to your export tool tab. So if you come up, if you've got enough screen real estate, you should see export up here. If not, you'll see again this double-headed arrow. Click on this, and then you can come down to export. So again, click on the double-headed arrow, come down to export. And when you do that, I'm going to scroll up to the very top. We are actually going to build our own recipe for how to process this specific file. So click on this little triangle at the very top where it says Export Recipes. We are going to open this up. I'm going to get rid of the one that I keep. And we're simply, so you should see in here a set of canned ones. There's, yes? You don't have export in there? Yeah, if you don't have it, if you don't see it, it isn't a part of it, you can always add it. So click on the little three arrows at the top. You're going to come down to Add Tool tab, down to Export. And then you should have it. And just come and click on Export. Did that work? So has everybody got in the export group now? Again, open up your export recipes. We are going to do a brand new recipe now. So if you click on this plus, sort of right down at the very bottom of that little screen, and you can do new recipe, and I'm going to actually call mine ICC profile TIFF. And then click on it. So I just like to have mine highlighted. If you have check marks in anybody else, uncheck them. The reason that you could have check marks in others is like, if you select something like this, so you'll see my screen. I've selected this guy, so the one down here is not selected. This one up here, it's destined now. This allows me to edit this one, but I don't have it checked. So if I hit export, it's not going to actually export a version of this, but this is where I would edit it. For me, I actually want to edit this one that's down here. This is what I want to edit, and I also want it to be printed, or exported. So that's what the check mark is all about. So then in doing this, what you actually need to do is you're going to come down to it's so weird for me to try, I got to do this on my screen. I keep looking up there to try to do shit down here. You want to come down to the part where it says export format and size. Again, if it's collapsed, open it. So export format and size. In the format drop-down menu, you want to click on that and you want to pick TIFF. In the bit depth of this, you want to click on that drop-down and pick 16-bit. In the options that's underneath it, you want to leave this as uncompressed. And then in the profile, the ICC profile, you want to click on this and you want to come up to embedded camera profile. So those are the settings. This is what we need to go through to actually get this part to happen. So has everybody got this part? Again, it's a TIFF file. It's uncompressed. Using the ICC profile as the embedded camera profile. Those are the settings that we want to do, and 16-bit. Are we good? Then up at the top again, underneath the profile parts right here. And you don't have to do, if you save this now, you simply come back to this recipe. All of this will already be set. You don't have to worry about resetting or remembering any of this. Just click on export. And it happens really fast. So then to see where this file actually is, come back to your library. It got put in your export folder. So if you click on your output folder. If you click on your output folder, and then again, if you're on Windows, it's a right click. If you're on a Macintosh, it's a control click. Click, and you will get a drop-down menu, and you want to say, show me this thing in the Finder. Or again, it'll be wherever in Windows, it'll be show you wherever it's located in Windows. So say, show me this in the Finder, and this is the TIFF that we just created right here using that export recipe. So this is the file that we are now going to bring into that camera calibration software. So I need to go back for mine. I'd actually closed mine up. So in my application folder, I'm going to open up the color checker calibration software. This time I want to select the ICC.TIFF tab at the very top, and now you want to drag that TIFF that we just built on into this space. So this is the TIFF for me right here, and I'm going to bring it into this space. It should do the same thing before. It should actually find it as it did before. And now this one, we're going to also hit create profile. And in the create profile here, it's also going to want to give it that same name. But this time now, it's not putting this in Adobe's support. This is now universal color sync support from Apple in their profile. This is where all the profiles for your papers live, all the profiles for your monitors live. All of these are just more of those that are actually in there. In mine, I want to give it that same name that I had before, the name of my shooting. And this is the name of my shooting right here. So this is the one that I'm actually going to put in here. You need to give it that same name. I'll leave this up on the screen so that you guys can actually type it in, because you probably have not copied that name from the file. I can read it out really quickly. It's 20110917 underscore COL underscore fashion1 underscore 01 dot ICC and hit save. I've already got one there, so I'm just going to replace this one with it. And I'm going to go ahead and say OK. So this thing now has done its work. You can close up the color camera calibration stuff. We can quit this. You now need to restart Capture One in order to use this thing. So quit Capture One. And once it is crashed, once it's crashed, I'm hearing, once it's quit, go ahead and relaunch it. But remember, do not relaunch version 12. Relaunch just the regular Capture One. It should bring you right back into that same spot as we were. You've still got the TIFF. Actually, this is the TIFF now that we imported into this thing. This is not really what I want to use. This thing I don't need anymore. This was a thing that we did specifically for this, but this is now a baked file. So I don't want to actually use this guy anymore. So I am going to throw this away. Simply hit the delete key. We do want to then import the original CR2 file that made this. So click on your import button again. It should find, again, since you haven't gone anywhere else, it should be able to find that same folder, but this is the CR2 file that is in our embedded folder. In the folder, example, the profile example folder. Click on this check mark at the bottom again. We are now going to import this again and say OK. It says the import and folders must be different, so let me see what happened. Hang on 1 second. Choose, it should be in my capture folder, that's where I want it. Oh, it's up on my capture folder. It's still in here. So if you've still got your CR2 file in there, you're good to go. If not, if you've thrown that away, then just re-import it, just like I did. Sorry, I was looking in my output folder, not my import, not my capture folder. Yes. Okay. We got to get through this because we are actually shooting in class today. Okay, so now to use this thing, so again, we're in our capture folder right here. Again, this already has an ICC profile in it that we've applied to it. So if we go to our tether capture right here, we need to come back to our base characteristics and we need to change the ICC profile. And if you click on this, you get your drop-down menu again, come back down to Other. It's right under Effects, and that profile will be right there. And you click on this. You also need to change your curve from a linear response to auto, and this is now the image that we've actually got. This is now the corrected profile part. So if we go back to what Canon actually thought it was, it would be Canon, and again, we'll look under, this is a 5D Mark II. So hang on one second, 5D, where are you? And these are the R's. One. Oh, it's right there, 5D Mark II Pro Standard. This was the one that was the original one that they had for this. And then look at this one. And you don't have to pick it yet, you can just hover over it and you'll see the difference. This is our custom one. That's without it. This is the custom one. Look at the shift in this, guys. This is unbiased color now, based on actually the image, the sensor, and the lighting of this scene. And this is where you start. Yes? So when you saved it out of that, did you actually go through the whole process and were you able to save it? Oh, did you restart Capture One? No, that's, you have to restart Capture One for it to show up. Did it work for the rest of you guys? Yes? No? Do what? Profiles. All right, did this work for the rest of you? Okay, good job. So anyway, what that is doing for us is that's actually getting us unbiased color that is now in Capture One, and now you also have unbiased color that's actually in Photoshop, and that is a massive move for all of us to ultimately make. So the last thing I want to show you while we're still here, and you have the software to do it and the time to do it, is if we go back and take a look at the assignments for this, our session number 5. So the assignments for session number 5 are to create one custom DNG profile for your camera sensor. Come into the studio, shoot a color card. If you own a color card, just shoot a color card. Somehow, if you've already got images that have a color card in them, you can use them. Everyone in here should have one for whatever camera you're using. But this is for you. You guys should walk away with having all of this stuff set up for yourselves. I don't want you to have a profile of a camera I haven't owned in 15 years. That does you no good at all. But for yourself, this is a game changer. So I want you to do, again, the custom DNG profile. I also want you to do a custom ICC profile. If we click on it and look on the assignment itself, it will actually tell you how to walk through this. So this following link will do a video of it. So it says to submit the DNG custom, so if you can then, create a DNG file that uses it as an embedded profile in it, and just submit that to me. And then for the ICC profile, same thing, submit one ICC color for your sensor. You can find them in the following places. So for the Macintosh people, this is where it will be. For the Windows people, this is where it'll be. Just grab a copy of the profile and submit these on Canvas. They're really small, so it's not going to be a big deal. Are there questions about this? Okie dokie. And then one last thing. The last thing in this whole step is to calibrate and profile your computer. Now, the due date on this is not until March 20th. You've got like almost a month to do this. And I think March 20th, this is Friday, right? Yeah, I might even extend this over because I think that takes us right up to spring break. So the calibrators, the way you need to do this, if you click on this calibrate monitor profile, there are 2 sets of videos in here. The process has gotten too long for me to demo this in class, but there is extremely good videos done by the people that everybody goes to. He's like the color god on YouTube. These are the 2 sets of videos. There's 2 for each OS. So for the Macintosh people, you want to watch this settings video first. There are very specific things that you need to go in and set up in your OS before you do the process. And then this video right here will actually walk you through the steps, step by step. You can watch this on your phone while you're doing it on your monitor to walk you through to get this. Now, I asked this before, is anybody in this room who is on Macintosh have a MacBook Air that's got an M1 processor in it, the very first of the M chips? If you do, you need to use different software and different hardware. Otherwise, this video will be perfect. The software that I have given you is the software that you need to do it, the Calibrite software. And then you can get the puck that you use to do the measurement from either the media center on the 4th floor at 623, or you can come in here. They have them here at the studio. You can't check them out of here, but you could actually do it while you're here at the studio. It takes about 20 minutes. For the Windows people, you do not need to worry about that. You simply use the software that I gave you, and again, get the puck either from the media center or from here, but you too have a whole series of settings that you need to establish first, and then do the calibration part, and you will be good to go. So the way I'm then asking you to show that to me is just to do a screenshot that actually shows it. So you can see in here, I've got, this is in my settings under displays, this is a color profile. I just did a screenshot of that. And then you can do the same thing on Windows. In Windows, to see your ICC monitor profile, this is where you go, and you'll just, I don't have a Windows machine, so I can't give you a screenshot, but this is exactly where it is, and then you're just gonna do a screenshot of what you see on that screen and submit that, and then I'll know you've done your custom profile. But again, you've got 3 weeks to do this. Questions about any of this? Yes? I'm sorry, is the what? I just recorded that whole thing that we just did for Capture One, and I'm going to put it up tonight, and I'll send you a link to it. All right. So speaking of, I'm going to stop that recording.